Boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, we're back on League on Lock, and we have talked about the Dragon X roster for a very long time, the rumors that have been swirling around it, but finally, thank goodness, the rumors are no more because they ended up coming true pretty much across the board. This is the roster we expected to see, and Dragon X themselves, they released it on Twitter. They made a YouTube video about it. Joining Deft, you have Doran and Chovy coming over from Griffin, being reunited with Cvmax, and they are also promoting the trainee players in Jiizuke and Korea in the jungle and support role. And this is a very interesting roster. I think it absolutely has the potential to vie for an LCK title. You have the proven talents and proven carries in probably some of the most important roles in Chovy and Deft. Doran has an opportunity to really expand and grow. We know him and Cvmax have a great relationship. And then you have the two rookies who have been highly touted as some solo queue gods. Korea reached ranked 1 as a support player, which is no small feat, and we know how great Cvmax is in developing this young talent. So I'm excited to see this roster on the Rift, and I think they can definitely compete. And what this does is kind of showcase the relationship between Chovy and Cvmax, with his suspension being terminated, not terminated, but at least delayed. You can really see that for all the behind the scenes and all the info we had about him being toxic and abusive to his players, some of his players still highly respect and enjoy him. This video, they actually went to Chovy's house, and this is almost something they have to do to show to the LCK, look, Chovy wants to play with Cvmax. They got along. They're laughing together. They did interviews with Chovy's parents about him being a pro player, and Chovy basically said he wanted to stay in Korea. He took a pay cut. Dragon X didn't think they would be able to sign Chovy at all because they didn't have the money left over from keeping a superstar like Deft on their roster. But Chovy is coming over, and it just adds another fold to this whole behind the scenes Griffin drama, because Doran and Chovy obviously respect and want to play with Cvmax, and the relationship is still in great standing for them, and they will be reunited. And Deft finally gets a solid team. We were worried Cvmax is going to be suspended. Who are they going to be able to possibly sign? But they did put a pretty solid roster around him, and specifically in the bottom lane with this new rookie support. We talked about Johnson and Afromu kind of having that rookie and veteran duo. Well, this is the opposite, where the AD carry is the big veteran in Deft, been around since Season 3. This guy is always going to World Championships. He's only missed, I believe, 2. In 2013 and 2017 are the only, and of course, you know, last year, the only times that he's missed. But he's paired with Korea, who is the superstar up-and-coming support. He's duo queued with him for a long time. He's been around solo queue for basically a full calendar year, been as the substitute support for then Kingzone, of course, and so Deft is very familiar with him. They probably already have some of that inherent synergy, and they've already been duo queuing for over a full month. So this rumor and the writing was on the wall for a long time that there was the potential, if Tusin's leaving, for him to come up and be promoted to play alongside Deft. And obviously, the guy's mechanics are insane. If you're getting to the very top of the Korean solo queue ladder as a support, yeah, you're going to have pretty insane mechanics. And Jiizuke as well is a guy who's been at the very top of solo queue in Korea. And let's keep in mind that getting to the top ranks of solo queue in Korea means a lot more than it does in a region like, let's say, North America, because people are tryharding a lot more in Korea, and for ever since it's existed, the actual ladder ranking, there have been top pros that come from solo queue. That's where Faker started out. You saw him dominating solo queue, and then he comes and obviously becomes the best player of all time. So yes, there is a lot more to take when you're talking about Korean solo queue than most of the other regions. So very excited to see this young talent grow under the leadership of Cvmax and players Deft, who's basically seen it all, and even Chovy, who was one of these highly touted solo queue players coming to that main stage and absolutely delivering on the hype. And he's still only 18 years old, so he's pretty good investment, and he's going to become a free agent after this year. So even if he's taking a bit of a pay cut to stay with Dragon X in another year, he will be getting his payday either with this squad or maybe somewhere else. But for now, he gets the familiarity of a coach, a top laner, and being in Korea and the LCK, speaking a language that he is comfortable with. Because the other option for Chovy, as we now know, evil geniuses were throwing piles of money at him. Jacob Wolf reporting multi-million-dollar deal, maybe even exceeding what Huni got on Dignitas. They wanted Chovy to come as their mid laner. They had that import slot available, and he said, no, I'm a little too young and too in my prime to be going over to North America. And he did say in that interview with Cvmax, or kind of that behind-the-scenes video, he didn't think he'd be happy in North America because he didn't know anybody, he didn't speak the language, and he just wanted to stay in Korea. And you know what? That absolutely makes sense still early on in his career. And we know North America is not ready to compete internationally, whereas the LCK absolutely is. And this roster now gives him a legit shot at making Worlds in one of the most competitive regions in the world. But EG say, okay, we don't get Chovy. So what are we supposed to do? Well, who's left available? And to be honest, there weren't a ton of mid laners. They still had that import slot available, and they go with Jiizuke, who I would have been shocked and a little disappointed if he didn't end up on a team for 2020. But remember, his 2019 was a little bit underwhelming, and now this is our EG roster for the spring split, and it is kind of a mishmash. I don't know. I don't know how to gauge this team. Jiizuke is obviously going to be the biggest outlier and toss-up for how he performs in North America, because 2018, Rookie of the Split, he performs well on an international level at Worlds, and overall has more of a disappointing run in 2019. He wasn't playing these aggressive champions as much. He was playing a lot of Corki, these 80 carries when they were mid, and they were in the meta, to be fair, but I want to see the Echo and the Assassins from him. And the mid lane talent is a little bit easier in North America, but let's get one thing straight now. 7 of the 10 mid laners in North America started out their careers in Europe. So is it really that much easier when you're basically going up against EU players and a couple of Koreans, and then there is the one lone Golden Glue sighting? But I don't see Jiizuke just coming in and dominating any of these mid lane matchups really in North America, which means there's a lot of question marks here for Evil Geniuses. But 7 EU mid laners, and we got to look at now that the rosters are pretty much finalized in the LCS. We have 13 EU players overall, 8 Korean players. That is 21 imports that will be coming in. We still have 26 North American players, though. So that's solid, half the league at least. So that's pretty good for them. But this roster, EG, what version of Bang are we getting? He was usually the best part of 100 Thieves because Sunday wasn't actually playing. Zeyzal was the stronger part of a suffering Cloud9 bottom lane. Svenskeren was obviously the MVP, didn't play to the same level at the World Championship. And Kumo is a big X factor because he's played 4 games in the LCS. He didn't play that much in Academy. Those numbers, he only played 5 games in Academy last year, and that is mostly because they were playing Jukes to boost their viewership, I would assume. I don't actually think that's why they were doing it, but Jukes played the majority of Academy games for them. So there really wasn't that much to go off of in the summer split, but in his 4 LCS games, he looked great, and he went up against some of the best competition, taking down Impact and going up against TSM as well. He performed fantastic in pretty much all of his 4 games on the LCS stage. I absolutely think that he is going to be a mainstay starting player in the big leagues, the North American big leagues, but can he perform and carry to the levels that we saw at times in his very limited games on that LCS stage? I'm not so sure. He's not going to be a top 4 top laner when you have other guys, Someday, Licorice, Haunter, even though he's on a underwhelming Golden Guardians roster. Evil Geniuses on paper fit right into that 5 to 8 category. Maybe if Bang performs more like he did on SKT and Jiizuke is more like his rookie of the split year, then yeah, you're probably talking about this team in that 5 to 6 realm. But if it's 2019 Jiizuke and the Bang Zeyzal experiment doesn't necessarily work out in the bottom lane, then you're looking at a non-playoff team in that 7 to 8 spot. But EG, they tried with Chovy. They end up getting Jiizuke, who's not quite as exciting, but still, it's another EU mid coming over to North America, and that always raises the level of the region as a whole.